Welcome to another Detective Devlog, where I'll be walking you through how we took our environment design from this to this. Let's get started. First things first, I had to start off with research, but I wanted my research to have a clear goal. So my goal was to improve the environment design of my game based off of the inspiration of games that I really enjoyed. So I had been playing a game called Wolf Stride for quite a while. It's a very fun game. It's a adventure story turn-based mech battling game. If you haven't played it, definitely try it out. But some of the things I liked about it were that the camera always followed the player but does not extend past the borders, how full each of the levels looked, the feeling of depth that you could see in both of these screenshots that we have here, and the use of shadows within the game. I'm not a pixel artist, so it was difficult for me to figure out how to exactly attack this. So I actually brought in a friend who's a really good artist in game dev. Their name's Seb. They're going to be releasing really cool games soon. Keep an eye out for them. But we kind of met up and I showed them my example and they let me know and helped me realize the fact that I was going for more of a traditional beat 'em up aesthetic from kind of like old 2D pixel art games. We were able to actually break down this game that they brought in and take a look at it. We paid special attention to the use of the foreground, the background, and the interactive objects. You can see that the background is very static. It's very similar to a lot of side scrollers kind of background, but the way that the floor is set up, it's giving it more of an isometric view, which is a improvement on what I kind of had, not up there, but down here. If we look at my game, it was giving much more of a top-down sort of view, which was not the vibe of what I was trying to go for. So I had this direction, I had this new idea of how I wanted to take the game, but assets. Again, I'm not an artist. My friend Seb is quite busy, so I couldn't get them to do all the art for my game. They're going to help out with stuff, hopefully, but they couldn't do all of it. So I jumped back into my trusty old itch asset backlog. And honestly, I'm proud to say that I've built up quite a collection of assets and things that I've been able to use in game jams and just my own little mini game projects that I've done on the side. But I didn't really find one that was perfect for what I was trying to do. So I had to do a mixture of several. First, let's take a look at the props. So these are things like furniture, items, things like that you will find in the world. And I found this really, really awesome asset pack called the Super Pixel Props Psy-Fi Pack 1 that gave a lot of things that tried to or really help sell the cyberpunk sci-fi world that I was trying to build. The next big thing that I think we should take a look at is the Psy-Fi platformer asset. Also, let's give a shout out to the people that these were built by. So the first one is Super Pixel Props Psy-Fi Pack 1, and that was built by Untied Games. And then the Sci-Fi platformer assets, which is built by Made Robo Factory, helped give more of the backgrounds that I was talking about before. So those static like platformer kinds of backgrounds that I really was trying to look for and use in the game. And I also got a bunch of other assets in here that maybe I will use, but the focus was to really take a look at like these background assets. I was looking for this very like industrial kind of feeling that I think that these really sold. And the hardest one for me to probably try to figure out was the floors. So trying to find an isometric floor texture pack was difficult. I did find this one by Screaming Brain Studios. So many of them are more so either like cement or tile or stone or wood, which is not really what I was going for. Since we've looked at all of like kind of the assets that I've used to kind of build the world, I think we should take a look at the use of lighting and shading inside of the space. Similar to my itch page, I've been able to build up a solid list of Unity assets. And the one that was really helpful for this part of the project was this one right here called Smart Lighting 2D. It adds like dynamic lighting to your game and it's pretty easy to set up. I've used it in projects before and I'll show you how I used it to add more mood and tone to the environment that I was able to build using those assets I showed earlier. So now we are looking at one of the levels in my game, and I want to just call out some of those assets that I was talking about. So first we have here the floor. These are using some of those diagonal tiles. Then you'll look over here and you'll see the prop assets and everything being used here. And then in the background, you can see the Psy-Fi assets being used. What you'll kind of see now is the little change that happens when I turn on the lighting. Right now, the assets don't really seem that pulled together. But once I kind of turn on the lighting, you kind of get that feeling of like that darker kind of vibe and energy and tone with the game. I can go a little bit into what that kind of looks like. So what we're working with over here on the lighting manager is something called a lighting profile. I've just put basically like an overlay over the camera that the light interacts with. And you can kind of see that you can kind of control the darkness of that here. So I can make it super dark if I wanted to, or I can have it light. I'm going to make sure that I turn it back to what it was. So yeah, then we're good there. And then we take another look at the different lights that we have right here when we're looking at it. So we have the main light that you're kind of seeing is this monitor light. And you can see that I've just changed the color on the light to give it the same color as the green. This is actually pulling directly from that space there. Then just kind of brightened up a little bit. You can see if I were to change the color, it would completely change the vibe and mood of the room. But I feel like I have found a really good space for how this all looks. And yeah, let's take a look at it really quickly in game. You can kind of see how like all of the pieces come together and they look a little bit more just unified when you bring the lighting and the tone and everything within the game. So yeah, that's how I went about making the levels. If you've liked basically what you've seen so far, and if you still made it this far, my game Detective is currently available for wishlist on Steam. I have a link right here in the description, and yeah, check it out. Follow if you want to hear more information. Appreciate it, y'all. Bye.